All right, we're live. Hello, the Goatist. How's it going? Welcome. Happy October 1st. We are officially in Q4 of the year, right? October, November, December. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, getting close to the end of the year here. Today, I'm not sure if I have any plans today. I've been messing around with FreeCAD a little bit, so I might dive in and try to do some type of 3D modeling there, but that's been kind of a struggle. But yeah, we'll wait for some more people to funnel in, and then we can answer some questions and dive into stuff. Hey, Danny, how's it going? Hey, Ben Gill. How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy October 1st. It is officially apple season, so go ahead and, well, I think apple season starts now. Apple season and cinnamon donuts, cinnamon sugar donuts, and apple cider. That's always, I got to go to an orchard this fall. Hello from Turkey. It's pretty far away. I mean, it's got to be 9 o'clock p.m., 10 o'clock p.m. over there. Hey, from Scotland. That's sweet. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. How is Amazon going? It's not. It's been busy. I think, so not everyone's going to understand this, but for some of you, you might understand it. Hey, John, how's it going? I think the hardest thing with the business right now is not necessarily the business, but it is the time that I have to work on things in a way that I can be productive. And that is really because trying to manage schedules with my daughter. So I think, I'm not sure if everyone's been here for that long, but like just had my first kid this year, and then I got laid off from my job in April. So my wife works a full-time job from home, which is really nice. So she's like, you know, able to be here and help out, and that's why I can do like these live streams. It's because I don't have a full-time job outside of what I'm doing here with YouTube and the business, and then helping raise my daughter. But we basically pay hot potato with my daughter. Like, who she needs is the person she gets in that moment, but that makes it really hectic for trying to get things done. And there's just certain things that I can't do. Like if my daughter's sleeping, I can't change over print plates because it wakes her up. I can't package products because it wakes her up. She can sleep through a lot, but that, I just can't do it. Can't film, clearly, for my YouTube videos. So a big piece of it is trying to figure out that schedule, and we're like getting better at it. You know, kid number 2, and whenever that is, I'm sure we'll be a little bit better. But then there's 2 little people running around. So no, I don't have Amazon up. That's my long answer, and it's just been like, where do I spend my time? And yeah, and I'm also like somebody who I can like blitz work. I can crank stuff out and do the hustle culture. But I also do like to have at least some mental reprieve from doing that stuff, because I do get like fried a little bit. So, and I've done that in the past. So trying to like have a little bit of time to not have to be focused on things is good as well. But all right, let's answer some more questions. The Go Test says, I have a question. Would you recommend is the best way to start making own 3D models and start a 3D printing business? 2 things there. The best way to start making models is to start making models. That's not the answer you want. But you can really download like Blender. That's a free one. Or kind of what I talked about briefly a little bit at the beginning is FreeCAD. Is a parametric modeling software. And it's also free. It's open source, so you can download it. I will be really honest, the UI in that program looks awful, but it does all this stuff. So I am working on learning that a little bit. To see if that's a program I want to switch over to. Because if it's powerful enough and I can learn it, it's free. So that's kind of convenient. But those are kind of the 2 first things. And the second thing is ideas. That's, I think, where a lot of people get stuck, is on the idea portion. The learning, the 3D modeling, you can look up YouTube videos on how to do that. But like you can't watch a video on how to come up with ideas and then just have an idea. It does take a lot of like your own mental load. Someone can't provide that for you. So I would say that that's going to be the harder part. Now, when you're starting off 3D modeling, don't be original and don't be creative in the sense that you feel like you need to be unique in 3D modeling. 3D model is something that somebody's already made, so you have a reference. Go find something you like on MakerWorld that's fairly simple. For me, it was all of my pegboard bins. That was one of the, not the very first things, but like bins. Those are really easy storage things. You know, a phone holder or stuff like that. Learn how to model that, because the process of doing that project will teach you a lot of the tools that you need to know to make designs, and then learn how they print on your printer. That's kind of like where I would start. And then for me, in my modeling journey, I've noticed that as my modeling skills have gotten better, my ideas for what I can model and print and make product-wise has gotten better as well. So, oh, and the last piece about that, because I just want to answer this question and take as long as I can, is when you model something for your first project, make sure it's like one thing. Don't model a multi-part project. Once you start introducing multiple parts into something, it just gets hectic. Here's an example of something that I made this week. I'm going to be uploading this. I need to revise it a little bit. It looks really simple, but let me explain it. I'll be uploading this on MakerWorld, but really I put a lot of magnets in products, and the orientation of those magnets matter, because if you ever have to do a return or repair something for a customer, and they want like you only need to send a new section of the entire product, you need to know which way the magnet's facing. So I wasn't happy with any of the magnet testers. They seemed excessively expensive on Amazon and online. So I made one, and I made it to be just about the size of my pocket, so I can easily grab it. I'm going to be making like a little pocket thing for this, my knife, and some other tools that I use very, very frequently in my shop. But it's got the red for positive or north, and then blue for negative or south. And that's, if I have blue up, that means negative will be facing up, and then same with that. So this would be a good model to start with. Simple, looks clean, and then it has a magnet insertion on the end, some chamfers. It'll teach you how to print with angles. So anyway, there's a starter idea, I guess. Kind of fun. Okay, some more questions. Scan Print 3D, hey, how's it going? Welcome from the Czech Republic. That's so cool. People all over the world in here, which is just fascinating. I'm going to try to pronounce your name, so bear with me, but Bederan, probably messed that up. How do you find or decide which product is worth to try to print and sell? When I started, I didn't. I just made things I wanted to, and I sell those. And to some extent, I still do that. To most extent, I still do that. You can do the market research. If you want to do that, some of the tools that you might want to use are Google Trends, which allow you to type in something like phone stand or something along those lines, and it will show you kind of relative search volumes. Actually, today I'll go into Google Trends so you guys can see what that looks like. Another thing you can do is, if you have Etsy, they're actually rolling out a new tool. I know everybody doesn't have access, because I have multiple accounts, and on my biggest shop, I have access to the tool, but not the other ones. And that is basically search trends, and I can search the keywords on Etsy itself. And then there's also some extra tools that you can pay for, like maybe it's Everbee and eRank that allow you to see search trends. So that would give you an idea what customers are searching for. Then you would want to go to those actual platforms where you want to sell to research if the market is saturated or not. You know, is there way too many people in the market? What do their products look like? Am I just making the exact same thing, etc. But what I would rather you focus on, because number one, it's more fun, and number two, you might have better ideas, is look for problems that really bother you, and then try to solve those problems. If you can do that, I almost guarantee you there's at least one other person who has that issue. And that's what I've done, and I found success in that. Let's see, printed that. Hey, only discovered you recently, and I'm still several months behind you on content, but enjoying it so far. Damn, fantastic. Glad you're here. Thanks for following along in the journey. Okay, I'm so sorry, I can never pronounce your name. I'm gonna have to put it in like not a translator, but one of those like things that speak to you on Google or something. It says Amazon also frees up a lot of time because they do the fulfillment for you. You can also use it to fulfill Etsy orders. Well, at least that's what was your experience. That's good to know. Yeah, I have to get Amazon, something on Amazon. The thing that's really my roadblock is the trademarking issue, because I don't want to list my products as generic on Amazon. For those of you who don't know, if you like go to generic on Amazon, that's basically like a catalog of all non-trademarked or branded types of products. You have to apply with an actual trademark that you've purchased, which is many hundreds of dollars to get a trademark in the United States, and it takes time. Or you can apply for a waiver, or I forgot what it's called. But there's some things like that I don't have set up on my products to be even apply for that. So I have to redo a little bit of my 3D models for like branding. I think I'm gonna put my logo on the bottom of some of my products, so that way it's like physically there, and I can use that to get around, what do you call it, the trademark issue. But that's kind of been my big hurdle, was the trademark issue. I'm just, maybe concerned's not the right word, but it just feels daunting in the grand scheme of all the things I could be doing. Let's see here. Donnie H says, I know the feeling. I work roughly 50 hours a week from home, and having an 18-month-old running around my office, struggle also to get stuff designed and posted. Man, yeah. I mean, I don't know your whole home life situation, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And I mean, I've got help. My wife does I would say she does the bulk of the work. Okay. Hey, Tom, how's it going? Glad you're here. Let's see here. Kyle, how's it going? Random Joe Gamer says, do you ever use your printers to just make stuff for yourself? And the answer is absolutely. I do that all the time. This seems like a stupid thing, but for me, this is so useful. I made all these bins. Those are for myself. I actually enjoy making those, not just for the business. My camera, some of my camera rails, those type of things, some wargaming stuff. I've got a whole setup on the other side of my basement that a buddy of mine and I, we do wargaming. That's with a different printer though. And if I have extra time and we want to do something big, sometimes I'll run it on these, but not very often. Organizational stuff, some other projects around the house. But yeah, I mean, I do that fairly often. Let's see. Godist again says, have you ever tried selling 3D printed products on TikTok? And the answer is I've not. And there's probably a missed opportunity there. But honestly, like, TikTok is so up and down in the scheme of like what's going to happen to TikTok. Now the answer is probably nothing is going to happen to TikTok. But that being said, as a business owner who's worked in marketing for a long time, I feel like I've missed the boat a little bit on TikTok. Like, its prime was before, and the uncertainty of what's going to be happening on that platform is almost enough to make me not want to invest time there. Because if I do invest a bunch of time onto TikTok, for the platform ultimately drastically change or get shut down in the United States, I'll have lost all that effort. So for me, you know, I'd rather just not put my eggs in that basket at this time. But yeah, and I also, the frequency of posting required to be successful on those platforms is just too much. It's just too much for me in my personal life. YouTube has always had this like special, you know, little niche for me. I've always liked YouTube. I've always watched YouTube. I just understand it a lot better. So, you know, go with what you know, and that's what I'd say. Says, I sell everything as generic. Doesn't really matter. If you send me your business registration, I'll sign you up. I am signed up. I have access to the back. I am signed up. I just have not put something up. Okay, so if you're doing generic, there's my promise to you. So thank you for pushing me. I will put some products up as generic this month, and we'll see how it goes. And then I'm assuming I can always change that in the future. So why not? Let's run it. Let's see here. Lori Ann Brown, you've got more feedback on the Amazon stuff, so thank you. Unless you have a famous brand name, the application for brand account isn't necessary. I just print my website URL on my products. use the keywords customers search with instead. Okay, you guys are all proving me wrong. So thank you, Lori. I will bite the bullet and just do it. I'll just do it. That's the feedback. You guys ask me, how do I start? And I always say, you just start. That's how they answer. So my answer to myself is, how do I do Amazon? The answer is, you just do Amazon. So shut up and just post something on Amazon. All right, October is going to be the month. I promise. 100% promise. Ben Gill says, you may not sell a mix of different things in a store, but is there a minimum, hold on. You say not to sell a mix of different things in a store, but is there a minimum, or number of items to start a store off with Etsy, do you think? I have seen mixed things on this, but I would again say that specific question is a hang up to getting started. Going back to that's my advice, and yet I still haven't posted on Amazon. But really, like, if you've only got one product and you're just struggling to come up with new ideas, post it. Post it. I mean, you're not going to get hurt by posting one product on Etsy. You're just going to have better visibility, better attraction. Etsy's going to see that you're doing more on their platform. So one other thing I have seen is actually like post products relatively frequently. So like if you have like 15 or 20 products that you want to put out and you did all the work ahead of time, let's pretend, I've seen that you actually like want to roll that. So you might want to like post one product a week or something, because it shows Etsy that you're continually adding to the shop. Look at all my hand motions. I'm like swimming like a dog. Anyway, so that could be a strategy. So I wouldn't fret like needing to have a specific number. If you are selling products that are all PB&J with each other or complementary to each other, then it would be helpful to have those up. So an example is one of my shops that I've launched and working on still building out more products for is they are sold in collections. They're little decorations for around the house, but they're sold in collections. And if you buy 3 or more, you get a 25% discount on the 3 or more purchase. So the whole point of that is to incentivize people to buy 3 or more. And I'm hoping that over the course of my store, my average order size is 3. The products actually sell for less than $10 each. But if I can increase the quantity, it actually bumps me up to that over $10 profit per product or order that I'm shooting for. So with that said, where was I going with this? Oh, I needed to have those products up at the same time, because if I rolled that out, it wouldn't work. You know, they would go to buy 3 of what? The same thing? That's not what they want. They want probably 3 separate individual things. So it kind of depends on your shop a little bit, but I would say better to just to have something up than wait. Tom, yes, I'm doing well. I hope you're well. Yeah, it's been good. It's been like really nice weather outside. Been playing some disc golf. I broke my personal record this summer. I have a local course I like to go to, 18 holes. And at the beginning of the summer, I was shooting like +6 or +4 was my best. And I said, I need to get par on the course by the end of the summer. And I got 4 under one day and 2 under another day. So yeah, I did it. So that's been pretty cool, and good just to be outside. Kyle says, on another business note, have you ever done drop shipping? I have not. Maybe unpopular opinion here, and if you're doing this, I'm not trying to throw shade at any person's ways. For me personally, I don't understand the value of drop shipping. For me, what checks my boxes in my personal life with business is making and creating things, whether that be videos or products. But that part of creation, making the business is fun, don't get me wrong. I like doing that too. But I like the making of something and providing something of value. I have not found a way to square those two things, drop shipping and my core, what makes me go, together, because drop shipping, I lose basically all of the things that I really enjoy in running my business, outside of perhaps making money. So I know there's money in it, but yeah, maybe just not my thing. Let's see here. printed that. Do you post designs on Makerworld for others' personal use, or do you just design your own? I've designed some super simple organizers and I might sell them, but I almost want to share them. I do both. So the way I do it are a few ways. I'll design a product, and if I make something I think can sell and is unique, I'll go ahead and sell that online. If it's a product that I like but does not meet my qualifications for profit, and I have a calculator that I've built out on Google Sheets that helps me figure that out, is I will sell that as an STL file, so that way people can, still buy it for $5 or something. And then for the things that I just like and want to share, I just upload those to Makerworld. So a good example are these. This is the Gridfinity stuff, not my design. Everybody, I think, knows Gridfinity, but I designed a rack that is angled slightly so you can easily see what's in them, and mounts onto a pegboard. And that's a open source, project, I guess, community project. So that I just uploaded that on Makerworld because that's not mine to sell. You know what I mean? Like that was designed to be open source. I wanted to contribute to the open source community. So yeah, I do that all. And then this is going to go up on not Patreon, on Makerworld as well, because number one, you probably wouldn't sell this, but number two is this would be a cool little thing for other people to use in their workshop. Magnet tester fits in your pocket. And let's see here. Next question. The Goda says, I think for starting a business, TikTok could help, right? Yeah, I mean, what I would say is when you're picking a social media platform, pick the one that you're most comfortable with, know the most about, and stick with it. That's going to be your success. The platform itself is not going to be the main factor that goes into whether it is a successful social media platform for you or not. And that there are some caveats with that, like don't do Facebook probably, unless you're getting in with like different Facebook communities. You're probably not going to find the success you want on Facebook from just trying to grow a following. But for me, I know very little about TikTok. I know very little how to use it. I don't use it in my personal day-to-day life. So it's just hard for me to use, and I just don't have the time to learn all the platforms. So pick one, know it in and out, and just post. But yeah, it can help. Brian White says, my biggest challenge is marketing. I don't have the time nor the knowledge to create a whole social media presence. Do I need to suck it up and do it, or what else do you recommend? Yeah, so I have toiled with that question for years, since I've been in marketing way back out of college. The reason why is, like, how do you get to know people? You can sell locally, but even then you still have to have some type of marketing. What I would say is, when you think of marketing for yourself and building a social media presence, what I'm doing here is probably unique in the sense that, like, most people are not and don't need to have a social media presence where they're showing their face and talking to the camera like this, right? Like, I'm kind of, to some extent, like building more of a personality YouTube channel or something like that, where you're interested in following my journey in the business somewhat, but more so my journey. And I honestly don't entirely know where that's going to go. I mean, the businesses are going to grow. That's for sure, because I'm putting in the effort to do that. But that's not going to get me the sales. For my other stores, I actually need to build out a marketing strategy, build out content for those. So it gets tricky. I would say you need to start investing in building out content for yourself, because that's the only way to have something of your own. If you don't do that, you're going to have to really hope you have a product that ticks the social media or the search engine boxes and gets picked up. But yeah, it's tough. It's also not as hard as you think. I think people overanalyze it. Not everything works. Like on my YouTube career, this is like my fifth channel that I've created and posted videos to, fourth or fifth. And I've been posting videos on YouTube for like 8 years. So this is not my first go around at trying to make something work. And actually I didn't have plans for this to work. So, but it is important to put something out there, because how do people find you? That's the question. Unless you pay for people to look at you, how do you get them to find you? And it's through content. Zay223, how's it going? YMK2 says, do you think it's smart to purchase a 3D printer if you can't design stuff? I'm thinking of buying an A1. It's not smart. It depends how you want to use it. If you're trying to build a business, you're going to be hard pressed to be set apart from others. I'll say that much. You will be locked into having to sell other people's designs and 3D models. And how do you make yourself different if you're selling the exact same product? There's not really a good answer there. So I think if you're going to do it from a business perspective, it's important to have your own 3D models. If you don't know how to 3D model, good news is it's not as hard as everybody thinks. It does take practice, but you can learn how to do it. So I would say, yeah, that's what I've always said. Design your own products if you want to start a 3D printing business. That's can be your best bet. If you want to just use it for other stuff, though, there are so many models online. You can almost find something for everything in Maker World, Printables, and some of the other Thingiverse. So you really can get all the stuff you want, and it's also great for home use too. You know, just printing things around the house or friends, favors for friends. I think it's a worthwhile investment even if you don't know how to 3D model, but that is my own personal opinion. Let's see here. Stevie Wonderkid says, are your margins high enough already that you won't have to raise your prices for fulfilled by Amazon costs? That's a good question. I forgot off the top of my head what fulfilled by Amazon are. When I do my calculations on costs for like Etsy, usually roughly estimate 15%. They're generally anywhere from 10 to 15% on Etsy due to the fact that you could get those offsite ads. But I would say, yeah, it's probably priced in. I have to check. But either way, you can always just raise your prices if they sell well, right? Because if you are selling a lot of product, if you're selling a ton of stuff and you're not raising your prices, you should think about that. It means you have high demand, and back in Economics 101, supply demand. If you have high demand and low volume, raise your prices a little bit, and then don't go crazy with it. But that's what people do. And also, if your product's that good, nothing hurts to get paid for what you made. Let's see here, Kem. I'm going to try to pronounce this. Delatiglu, I'm so sorry. I think I just butchered your name. Says, how do you plan to scale your Etsy store, and how do you think people who are making 2K sales in their first year doing it, what would be your most important takeaway from your journey? How to scale Etsy. Social media, which I'm working on for my other stuff. This is really not where I sell products. Social media presence for my stores, and particularly I'm just going to pick one that I like the most. Excuse me. And then try to build out some content, get some eyeballs there. I'm probably going to do a separate YouTube channel for that one because again, that's just what I know. And then I will be doing consistent product uploads. That's kind of the goal. Consistent product uploads. One of my new shops I would like to have by the end of this year. I think my goal was, it's kind of been lowering a little bit, but I think I could still do it. If I could have like over 100 products on my shop by the end of the year, that would be great. And that means products I design and make. One day, I promise I'll share that shop with you. I want it to gain traction. So if I ever do share it, I'll be so far ahead in the game in product set and everything else that if somebody sees it, I won't have to be concerned about somebody trying to replicate what I'm doing. There is quite a bit of work that goes into it. But either way, if I can have 100 products on that shop by the end of the year, I think that's where you get your money. When you're rocking 10 to 20 products on your Etsy shop, you're really limiting the net that you cast on the algorithm and potential customers. So if you have more options, I mean, yeah, you just have a better opportunity for sales, and I think that's going to be kind of what I'm shooting for here. The Goatus says, what is the best 3D modeling thing to make products like video game designs or characters or fidget toys instead of useful products like a phone holder? Blender. Check out Blender. Blender 3D. It is open source, crazy powerful. You can also do all the renderings of those products within the software itself. You can do some really cool stuff. Yeah, you could go crazy with that. You could do product animation in there. There's some things in Blender that I would really love to learn because it could really take up the product and marketing side really quite a bit using some of those tools. But yeah, just check out Blender. There is a way to do dimensional 3D modeling in Blender. It's a little wonky, but it works. And I know people who use Blender pretty much exclusively for their products. And it also has sculpting. So if you want to do like some really organic shapes and stuff, you can use Blender for that, and it works perfect. Brian White says, I'm thinking about making some variations of my products on Etsy that could be combined with existing listings. Should I post them separately to make it look like I have more product offerings? First thing is you will have more product offerings, but should you combine it? I actually don't have a clear answer for you, and the reason why is I'm testing that on one of my shops, exactly that at the moment. I have a collection of 10 products that are all within the collection. I have all of them listed as individual products, and then I have the collection listed as one product where you can use the drop down to select whatever you want and add them to the cart. So I'm testing that exact thing myself at this exact moment. I think having it right there within the listing is probably your best bet. But maybe you could test it as well and then come back and we can share our figure out what we see. Printed that. Can you send me a link to the magnet tester? Definitely need one of those. I can't because it's not up yet. I have to post something on Patreon. I gotta do a little bit of work today to get some of that Patreon stuff up and cleaned up for last month, and then I can start working on this stuff for this month. But this will be up maybe by the end of the week. I have one other thing. Right now I print it vertically because with the multicolor change, you can do one color swap in the center, and it basically makes it so you don't have to like purge filament and do a whole bunch of stuff. Problem is, it's very fragile in the center. Let's see, I might try to break this. Okay, I had to glue it back together, but I dropped it and it snapped in half, which I thought might happen. So I'm trying to do some print settings to make that bond stronger because that'd be cool. But if that doesn't work, I might have like a thread where you actually screw these together. Either way, yes, eventually I'll have this up. Follow me on my YouTube channel and subscribe, and I'll have a link to my Maker World profile in that video. Let's see here. Rusty Nails Co. Why do you keep your other shops a secret? Because I started sharing my shop for Off the Bench last November, and I had my views to my shop go through the roof because of YouTube. Tons and tons of traffic to my YouTube shop. But the problem was very few of those people bought any product. What that does on Etsy is it reduces your conversion rate on the store really low. And Etsy says, hey, you have a lot of traffic coming into your store, but nobody's buying. Your products must be awful. And it actually hurt my shop. So that's why I've also removed the link to my store, my Etsy store, across all of my social media channels. But that is why I don't share the other ones, is because I want to get that lift. Eventually, it won't matter, right? Eventually, I'll have enough traffic that I can share it, and I don't think it would be, it won't be an issue. But for now, it's going to be a secret until I can get those to a point where I can comfortably share them. If it was just my website, I would share that because it doesn't matter what my conversion rate is on my website. Lori Ann Brown says, lots of tutorials on YouTube for Blender 2. It is the one I always recommend if you're going to take the time to learn modeling. It is the best. Yeah, it is the best as long as it's not, as long as you don't need parametric modeling. So if you're doing functional prints, parametric tools are always better. But yeah, Blender is like, it's a great tool. It's very cool. Number one Gag News Station says, hey, I'm kind of new to printing and want to know what are some things that are good to sell. I'm not sure I have an answer for you there. You're going to have to think of some things, and that just takes a lot of brain power. You can always go to Etsy or look up, best-selling 3D printed products. Problem with that is you're going to be running into issues where you're going to be competing in a very competitive space. The best things to sell are ideas that are very unique problems that you personally have and can find a cool solution to, and sell those. Because what 3D printing really, really excels at is low volume production and complex parts. If it is one of those or both of those, 3D printing is probably a really good fit for you for your product. If it doesn't fit either of those, you probably shouldn't be selling it with 3D printing. So that's a couple of the criteria that I use in my day-to-day. I'm going to plug myself here. I have a worksheet on my Patreon, link in the bio, that for idea generation, like a worksheet that kind of helps you walk through some of that. If you're interested, you can check that out. It's like $5 or something. The Godis says, I also know you use Shaper 3D. Is that correct? It is. That is actually my main modeling tool. I'm just curious to try out FreeCAD to see if it's something that I can get to a point where I'm comfortable with it. But Shaper 3D is so fast. I mean, it's hard to argue with the speed of how fast I can model in Shaper 3D. So, yeah, I'm probably going to be using both for some time. Scan Print 3D says, Blender is really more for organic. Fusion 360 is more for professional, but super cool. So rich in functions and mega parametric. Yes, mega parametric. Yeah, and it really goes. So for those of you who don't know about the language we're talking about, there's parametric 3D modeling, and then there is, I think, mesh-based, or I forgot what the other one is called, like what Blender is. Parametric 3D modeling is done in a way that is based off of like 2D drawings, and then you extrude, like, so you add volume to those and whatnot, and everything is constrained. So like when you have like the diameter of this or how long it is, those are actual values, like 110 millimeters. And because those are all values and you do them in order as you model, I can go back and say, wait, I made this and I actually don't want it to be 110 millimeters, I want it to be 90. Instead of having to remodel all the work I did to fix that, which is something you would have to do in Blender, I can just go back and change the length to 90 millimeters and it will update all of the changes after that, as long as I've done my model correctly. So that's the power of parametric, and when it comes to, for me, that's why I like it so much, is you can do really, really cool tools. I mean, most of the stuff you buy is done with parametric modeling. I would argue, Casper, I would love to know, or sorry, Scan Print 3D, I'd love to know what your opinion is on that. But I would argue that the vast majority of all things bought, even down to Tonka toys and Hot Wheels cars, they're probably all done in parametric modeling. That's going to be my guess. Like parametric, for sure, parametric modeling. Flashlight, for sure, parametric modeling. I mean, what is here that's not parametric? I don't know if I see anything in here that is not made with parametric modeling. This cool like rock golem, which I printed on my Ender 2 like 3 years ago. This was made without parametric. Yeah, so I would say these are the exceptions. If you're making like little minifigures or like taking things that would be in video games or whatnot and have a lot of organic detail, this would be a case for not using 3D or parametric models. But almost everything else, I mean, almost everything else, even when I scrub through products that you see online, those little, what do you call it, those dragons, I can't confirm, but because of the linkage, that very well may be parametric modeling. So something to think about. Casper says, I'm currently designing a product by making a drawing and then modeling it, but I've been stuck for almost a week now because I don't know where to start the next part. What do you recommend doing? Oh man, can you explain some more? Because I'd love to answer your question. But like, what are you stuck on? Like, what are you trying to, did you do like a 3D hand drawing and then you're trying to like make that? Yeah, give me some more info and I can help answer the question for you. Let's see here. Lori Ann Brown says, you can do that in Blender too. They have a CAD Sketcher plugin. Yes, and that's what I was trying to reference earlier. They do have a CAD Sketcher plugin. It's just not as... I should download it and try it again, but last time I tried it, it was a little janky, to be honest. Compared to the parametric tools, it was more difficult to use, and that could have been just a learning curve issue, or maybe my brain just wasn't catching it. But yes, there are tools that you can get as plugins for Blender. My only concern there is when buying a tool, and let's take a 3D printer for example. I know there are some like upgrades you can get for the 3D printers to make them do like automated 3D printing and batch runs and all this other stuff. I'm very much of the opinion that you should buy the tool that best fits the purpose you have for it. So if you're buying or if you're downloading a piece of software, but then you have to do a bunch of modifications for it, the risk there is that one of those is going to update or become outdated, and then it won't work. And then what do you do? Because you're changing the tool to do something it wasn't originally intended for. That's like same thing with video games. Like I've never been a big fan of modding my video games a lot because like I don't know. I'd rather just have it as part of the core experience. So anyway, a couple analogies there. Lori then says, I use Lightwave 3D as I used to teach it, used for everything myself, but I had to start learning something from scratch. We learned Blender. Yeah, when you're making me want to open up Blender again. I'm just curious. Let me check real quick. I bet you it's on, where was your comment here? CAD Sketcher. There's probably a GitHub or something for it. Oh no. They have their own, nice. Interesting. I might switch the scene over there so we can show. Scanprint 3D, everything highly freeform like car exteriors or even interior surfaces could be done by a NURBS modeler like Alias Auto Studio. Loft tool and Fusion is very limited from freeform design, rest is parametric. Interesting. NURBS, that's kind of cool. I know what you're talking about, but it's just very interesting. Is NURBS basically just a bunch of splines and then you like do the loft across them? I think that's what it is. Scanprint 3D, Fusion, Shaper, or Blender are great for 3D print files because the files are closed volumes. Alias Audio Studio has to be first stitched like a waterproof. Oh, interesting. To be a closed volume to print. Very interesting. Matt, should try plasticity. Yes, that's also a good one I've heard of. I've not used it yet. It's similar to Shaper 3D, but it is paid, just like Shaper 3D, and but it's a one-time payment, so that's kind of cool. Casper says, yes, I'm drawing on paper what it should look like, but then I don't really know what it should look like. Then I don't know where to start or what to draw. So what I would say is, if you haven't picked out a 3D modeling software yet, go pick one out first and then do a couple tutorials because I think what the gap might be is if you don't know the 3D modeling side, but you know what you want it to look like on paper, you don't have the language with the 3D modeling, like the 3D modeling language to actually match those two things together. So you might just be having a gap there where you need to understand how to like make some shapes in a program to then go, oh, that's the shape I need, or I know how to make that shape. And then if I combine those shapes, it'll make the one I ultimately want. So yeah, that's what I'd say is maybe pick a software first if you haven't, go do some tutorials, and then you'll probably be in a better spot and might actually answer your own question there. Steven says, SolidWorks for the win. I'm also a professional engineer and use it daily, but then I have non-commercial versions for cheap. Man, I'm finding out there are a lot of professional engineers that follow me on YouTube, and that's terrifying because you guys are all like, oh, I'd love to see you 3D model. And I'm like, you want to watch me 3D model? That is funny. A bunch of professional engineers watch me model. Yeah, I have a buddy who's an engineer and works in the automation field, and he was explaining and showing me this massive assembly line that he designed. And number one, it was mind-blowing. It had all these robot arms and like cool things. I'm like, that is so cool. If anybody's played Factorio, it was basically Factorio in real life. Factorio, love that game. Super cool. But what I think, if I can remember the conversation correctly, one of the things that he said was like, he hid all of the 3D geometry, and then it just had all these like lines, just lines everywhere. I was like, what is all that? He said, these are my reference lines, and they all stem off of this one reference line. So going back to parametric modeling, he had this one reference line that stretched the length of the assembly, and he could literally change a value on that line and it would update the whole model. It was just like, I mean, watching somebody use a tool that they know so well is very humbling, to say the least. Very, very impressive. So anyway, that's me saying I'm very intimidated by the fact that a bunch of engineers in here are like, you know, asking, or I guess you guys aren't asking, you guys are the one contributing to the 3D modeling questions. Anyway, let's see here. Oh, Mike says, matter control. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Oh, that's cool. I'll have to check that one too. Let's see, more SolidWorks in Fusion. Let's, Scan Print 3D says NURB is a non-uniform rational B-spline. I like NURB better, personally. So real surfaces, while Blender uses sub-DTAC, meaning highlighted high-span Bezier surface combined with NURB surface. Okay, start with Blender. Yeah, I like that idea. Oh, interesting. Plasticity has NURBs. If I want to get in the NURB game, I can get plasticity. That'd be cool. Let's see here. Bargov K says, should I keep the Bamboo Mini I bought in a enclosure, but worry people say parts may get damaged? You bought an A1 Mini, but you bought it in an enclosure. But I worry people say parts may get damaged. I use my A1 Minis not in an enclosure, and I have zero issues. They've never been in an enclosure. I actually 3D printed a handle that goes on the top, and sometimes I'll like move them around by the handle. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about those getting damaged. They're pretty durable machines. All right. Prodigy plays, what household appliances would you say are less important / useful than a 3D printer, if any? I feel like 3D printing is such an underrated technology. What household appliances would you say are less important, so less useful than a 3D printer? I'm not entirely sure how to answer your question. Honestly, I'm trying to like understand exactly what, I mean, I like my fridge, you know, like you can't replace a fridge with a 3D printer, or a dishwasher, or my washer and dryer. But other appliances, yeah, they kind of all do their things, but like I will say, going to the 3D printer part of the question, I had an issue where they have like on your fridge doors, I have the one that opens out like this, and then where it closes, one of those doors has another strip that goes behind, and it's supposed to fold in behind the two doors. So that seam in the middle gets blocked from the backside and the gasket goes up against it. That was not closing. I found there's a little plate at the top that had this little curve in it, and it was supposed to catch that little flap and flip it when the door closed. Well, it wasn't working, so it ended up where like we would shut the door and then wake up in the morning. We're like, why is there a bunch of moisture in here? It's still cold. But clearly air was getting out or air was getting in. Hot goes to cold. So 3D printer, I was able to take that part off and redesign one that works. Takes a little bit more effort to close the door now. You'd have to close it slightly harder or just press it. But now my fridge never has that issue, period. Now the biggest issue is I need to close my door. It doesn't auto-close. It didn't auto-close before. I could tilt my fridge so the door slams shut. That could work. Okay, so I would buy a 3D printer before a microwave. That's fair. I would also buy a 3D printer before a microwave. I don't think I would replace my dishwasher, fridge, washer, dryer, or freezer though. Those are kind of their own thing. But yeah, microwave can kind of do with or without. Let's see here. Or a toaster. Yeah, I mean, I guess an oven would be another one. I can't replace the oven, but oven is basically just a large toaster. Let's see here. Next one, ScanPrint 3D. SolidWorks is great, but you spend either good money on it or have a smart workaround to get access to that great tool. Also, Shaper 3D is great for a start at least. Ask yourself what you want to create. Yep, sculpture or technical parts. Absolutely right. Or you could be an industrial designer and do sculpture through technical parts. Ooh, that's a workaround, I guess. Lori says, I have 10 printers and 0 microwaves. That's amazing. I like it. Mike says there's a version of SolidWorks for $30 for the year. Interesting. I did not know that. That's kind of cool. Prodigy says I'm more so getting to the fact that 3D printers should be a household appliance. Yeah, and I think it will be. The problem is you need to know additional things for it to be a household appliance. Right now, like with a fridge, right? If you don't know how to use a fridge, not fix, but use a fridge, I mean, I guess I'll just stop it there so I don't say anything mean, but like, you put things in it, that's about it. But with a 3D printer, you have to either know how to find what you're looking for, which can be tricky because I'll be honest, for as many models as there are online, there's also equally amount of bad models. And that's just stuff you have to wade through. And then, that's why it's really important, which I think if anyone watched Jerry Rig Everything, it's interesting to watch his like business side of stuff when he talks about his Not a Wheelchair company. Not a plug for him, but also a plug because his Not a Wheelchair thing is pretty cool. But I find it fascinating where he says we need more people who know how to 3D model. And he's always like, the tools are there, go learn them. It's important. We can make better things for humanity if more people could 3D model. And I've taught myself how to do it in the past several years, and I'm like 100% on board with that mindset. Like, we could make so many better things, and 3D printing can help make that a reality if more people learned how to 3D model. But I think what also becomes an issue is that the 3D modeling is still seen as a flexi toy fun thing. That's the stigma of these producing trash is still there because people are still producing trash. If you buy a massive CNC routing machine, can't think of some of the Stuff Made Here has some of those in his basement. Oh, I can't think of what they're called. Or no, they're not in his basement. There's Tormox. That's what they are. Those are cool looking machines. Excuse me, cool looking machines. But the barrier to entry, and just in terms of getting the machine, let alone the material cost, is prohibitive to make garbage, right? Like, you're not making garbage with those because it's just too expensive to make garbage. Whereas 3D printers, it's pretty cheap to make garbage. And that's, I think, the stigma that we still need to work our way out of. We're working our way out of it as a community. But yes, learn 3D printing and 3D modeling. I guess that's what I'm saying. Next one is ScanPrint 3D. Indeed, it will be within the next 10 years, at least every second household has a 3D printer. What I would also say about the 3D printing stuff is going to right to repair. If you don't support right to repair, you absolutely should. And I say that as somebody who owns a Mac. I understand they're not repairable. I am testing out Linux, if anyone's curious, on some repairable hardware. But what I would say is, if right to repair becomes a reality where manufacturers are required to provide replacement parts for their stuff, that's where 3D printing comes in. Because there are so many instances where 3D printing, although it's not going to provide the same finish or maybe the exact same quality as a part that was originally fitted into the product, like my fridge, for instance, if I had that 3D model from the manufacturer, I could literally just say, hey, I've got a warranty claim on this. Here's what's broken. They could send me the STL file. I could print it, and then I would have a fix right there. They wouldn't even have to come out. They wouldn't even have to like mess with anything. Better yet, they could release all of the data, not their main IP that sets them apart, but they could release some of the parts and make the wearable parts of the machine something that is easily 3D printed. So that would be really cool. We're a long way off of that. There's a lot of money going against that future for us, but that would be really cool to see. Anyway, Luke, yes, I worked on the audio beforehand to make sure it was working. The GOAT, we're talking about ventilation questions. I don't use any. If you're printing just PLA, it's very, not a lot of VOCs. This is not scientific. Do your own research. But if you go and look at Sam Craft's channel, he did one on VOCs, and he found that there was actually very little VOCs released from PLA, and he has like 20 plus printers that he ran all at the same time for the test. And he still just put in an air filtration unit. If you're concerned, get a filtration unit like a HEPA or carbon filter and just run that near your printers. GS Film says, I was talking to you last week. I'm not sure if you remember, but I basically blew up on Etsy and started a different channel sort of advertising the store in my journey, and now I have over 5,000 orders. Thanks a lot. Some of your advice really helped me. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. What was the advice I gave you? Because I want to use it. That's nuts, man. That's great. Congratulations. Yeah, I started a different channel advertising my store in my journey. That's so cool. Not everyone is going to want to learn to 3D print. There are still people who don't know how to cook. That is true. That is true. It's not going to be for everybody. And you know what? We probably, not to say we don't want to exclude people. If anybody wants to join the community, you're more than welcome. But if everybody 3D printed in the world, that would mean everybody has the same exact skill set. And that would be a pretty sad world, right? Like, we function as a society because everybody has their own unique thing, right? And not everybody's good at 3D modeling. Not everybody's good at communicating. Not everybody's good at writing or drawing or making videos or playing football or doing that type of stuff or building businesses. The list goes on, or being a doctor, right? Like, you could literally say being an astronaut. The list goes on. The fact that we can do all this stuff and have these tools is because everyone has their own thing. So, yeah, we want everybody to find what they're really good at and what they're passionate about and kind of hone in on that. That's where we'll all benefit from. But it is 3:59, so we're going to just wrap up and answer a couple things here. Updates. Today, I will be uploading that tape dispenser onto my Patreon. For Patreon members, it will also be sale for $5. If you're curious, you can check it out in the link that's in the bio of this video. It's not up yet, but it will be by the end of today. Also, next video will be coming out this weekend time frame, and we'll be having another one of these next week, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Be here, be square. I don't know what that means, so I should probably actually be careful. But yeah, old school, elementary school diss, I suppose. Let's see here. I just want to see the last questions. GS Film says, started selling these little sayings to go love door frames that say, for example, love you, buy, and have MSC over 3,000 orders. You were really just telling me about confidence. Nice. That's so cool. Yeah, and on Etsy too. If you sell that cutesy stuff on Etsy, that is the customer base, right? So you found a product that you like making to the right audience on the right platform, and we're able to share it with them. You know, you hit the things. Product, price, placement, and promotion. You need all of them. You might have the right product, but if it's not in the right place. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going to get on another tangent. I should save some of this for next week. John, hello and goodbye here. Learning Blender, that's fantastic. Viewer 353, wondering how do you do your partnership with your German partner? Come back next week and I'll answer that. I also have a video that it's on my docket I'll be making to actually do a video on the partnership specifically. And answer a lot of those questions. Prodigy Plays, yes, it is back in action because it's actually good now. I was printing many years ago and it was bad. It was an awful experience. Now it is print and play. And then last question, Richmond says, when are you going to make live 3D modeling? When I'm not so embarrassed, that's when. Okay. Fantastic, everybody. Thanks for participating. I'll see you, everybody, next week. Have a great rest of your week. Great start to the month. Happy October, and we'll be back next time. See ya.